Ladies and gentlemen, welcome as we are live and here this afternoon, I guess evening into night here on a Monday. We have a chance to clinch the championship and get Mark Martin his first career Cup Series title at the California Speedway for the next race of our Mark Martin Revenge Tour season. 7 races to go, so there's a possibility I could clinch this championship 6 races early as we have a massive 996-point lead coming into the night. Only thing I have to do to win this championship here this evening, I got to finish 11th place or better to win the championship. It's that simple. Don't even have to get a top 10. 11th place or better, we clinch the championship. Now, in the first California race earlier this season, I did end up finishing in 23rd, so it's not going to necessarily be that easy today. I made some adjustments based off of what I had from the first race here into what we're going to have for this race tonight. And that starts off, of course, with qualifying right now as we are about to qualify for this one. 2 laps to try to set the quick time. And remember, we are still trying to go for the laps led record as we are just over 900 laps led away from the all-time record coming into this one. Got over 900 laps to go, so we're going to try to lead as many as we can, although considering that this is going to be a fuel mileage race, it's going to be tough to lead a ton of laps as we're more than likely going to have to kind of stay in the draft up by the front of the field. A lot of straightaway speed, at least out of the rip. Car feels a little tight, not going to lie. It's hard to get it to turn all the way to the bottom of the racetrack there. This first lap's not going to be all that great. 21st on lap 1. Need a massive pickup on lap 2. I don't want to loosen it up at all because I do remember I was very loose at California the first race here. So I don't want to have that problem again. Up to the apron through 3 and 4. Aggressive line for qualifying at least. 38.648. That second lap was a little bit quicker, 17th. But yeah, we are going to be starting mid-pack. I don't know why I struggle here so much. Oh, boy. I think we're just going to have to keep it where it's at. I don't know how it's going to handle, like the suspension. It's right there. You know what? Even though I'm already tight, I'm still going to put a half a round of wedge into it just in case. I just don't know what it's going to be in the long run. That's what's scaring me. To be completely honest. Matthew Dorter Bruno, Ryan Berwick, thanks for tuning into the stream. NASCAR Penske Cup Series Racing and Hazen Wilson, also welcome in. Hopefully I said your name correctly. Contact already with Jeff Gordon there. Didn't take long for that. Couple spots lost on the initial start. Night race in California, though, underway. 500 miles, 250 laps scheduled distance tonight. A lot of 3x3 racing into the first lap of this one. And near contact all the way up the track around David Stremme and Reed Sorensen. A couple of those Chip Ganassi dodges. Dave Blaney qualifying top 10. What's he doing up here? The hodgepodge group of drivers that qualified really well for this one. Newman leads the first lap. Martin to the inside of Stewart for 12th. Even if I don't lead a lot of laps in this one, let's just clinch the championship tonight. Let's just finish 11th or better. Get the championship one, and then we'll focus in more on trying to get the record for the most laps led in a single season after this. So I only led 8 laps in the first Fontana race earlier this season, so I know I'm not going to have a car that's going to be the fastest in the field today. It's just not going to happen. Martin under Harvick. Harvick not giving Martin a lot of room. Jimmy Johnson to the lead. After the first 2 laps of the race were led by the 12 of Newman. Side by side with Harvick for 9th. And clear. I want this field to get just a little bit more spaced out, to be completely honest. Walking Harvick to the inside. Martin also underneath Kyle Busch. For 8th, pass made. Dale Jarrett looking to take the lead from Johnson. Johnson would have led that last lap. Jeremy Mayfield, Martin Truex Jr. side by side. Martin following the 19. So they both get by the 1. A little bit of smoke up near the wall. Look at the skid marks up towards the wall in turn 2. I was going to say, somebody made some hard contact somewhere in the field, but we do stay green. Had just 1 caution at Martinsville yesterday afternoon. Really don't like how congested the field is up here. One gets by Jarrett. Underneath Newman. Johnson looking to go underneath Greg Biffle. He's there for 2nd. Martin just going to get underneath his teammate as well. Going extremely down to the inside. Although he's dropped in with a non-teammate down on the bottom of the track. This could be what's going to happen here to try to get up into the 2nd place position and then go from there. So Johnson back to the lead. Kenseth was able to get 5 bonus points. And this is the driver that has to beat us by 60 points tonight. Jimmy Johnson has to outscore Mark Martin by 60 points. Martin's going to get underneath him and lead his first lap of the day at the line. And that's going to ensure now that Mark Martin, with a 12th place finish or better, will clinch the championship this evening. So had to finish 11th or better with no laps led. So now a 12th place finish or better for Mark Martin tonight will win the championship for him. And we can finish 14th or better if we somehow lead the most laps, which is not going to be easy. Ends up back to the inside of the 6. A pack race at Fontana going on right now. I really don't like it. Martin stuck on the outside of the racetrack. Fuel window is going to be right around 50 laps, so the idea is we're going to try to make this thing on 4 stops. Hopefully make it 50 laps a run. 3 wide are all the Roush Fenway Fords here. Greg Biffle, Matt Kenseth, Mark Martin. Martin getting a draft off Ryan Newman. Helped him down the front stretch to get to 3rd. Martin looking for a way around Newman. Mark underneath the 12 off turn 2. Trying to stay with him all the way down the back straightaway, but I don't think that's going to work. Nope. Oh, Newman got tight. Overdrove the entry to turn 3 just a bit. Alright, right back into second. I really like to just stay in second and kind of draft away with Jimmy Johnson. We got 1 lap let in already, so and a 12th place finisher better will win the championship for us now. I'm willing to be pretty patient here. Try to get away from this field, get some separation. It looks like the car's handling well, and I think it is feeling pretty good right now, even with the wedge adjustment post-qualifying. I just don't trust it for the long run. I really want this pack to separate quite a bit. I don't want to have to be in a tightly congested situation for the entirety of this, not only this run, but just the race in general. Lap traffic going to be a factor? I mean, it always could be. I think the biggest way lap traffic is going to become a major factor in this one is if we get an extremely slow car in this race that drops out early with an engine issue and then tries to come back in. Very high speeds here in Fontana. Johnson and Martin not really pulling away from Ryan Newman, at least. They are pulling away from Greg Biffle and Matt Kenseth back in 3rd and 4th place, though. Yeah, definitely getting some draft. Yeah, this race is going to be exactly how Michigan's strategy was when we raced. So about 4 full laps of following Jimmy Johnson now, and just trying to make sure we make it to lap 50. Save enough fuel for the entirety of a run. If I can lead laps later in the race, I will, but I'm really not worried about that at the moment. And yeah, I would like to get to the record. I think the big chance that we're going to have of getting to the record is we're going to have to lead a ton of laps at Bristol and New Hampshire, the 2 tracks I have circled. But the other races, it's going to be tough to lead a ton of laps. I might be able to lead quite a few at Atlanta. We'll have to see how that goes. But, you know, here tonight, Watkins Glen, Sonoma, there's just not many laps in those races. Daytona, 160. Like, I'm going to have to capitalize on the 500 laps at Bristol, the 300 at New Hampshire, try to lead, you know, 80-90% of that race, both of those races. We came into this one needing 900 and I think 37 laps to tie. So 938 laps to try to break Bobby Allison's all-time record for most laps led in a single season. Again, Mark Martin to clinch the championship tonight has to finish 12th or better. And that is because we already had scored 5 bonus points for leading a lap. If Jimmy Johnson leads the most laps, goes on and wins, that's why we would have to finish 11th or better coming in. But because we did lead at least 1 lap, now it's a 12th or better finish for Mark Martin to clinch the title. Like to go for the win, obviously, but you know, worst case scenario, at least secure the title 6 races early. And we will still, as of right now, finish this season out. I'm going to at least run the season long enough to try to go for the laps led record. You know, if it takes to the last race to try to break the record, then we'll run it all the way through. If I end up breaking the record before the season finale, then we'll just end up finishing the season wherever we're left at, so we can get the next stuff with NASCAR 07 started right away and challenge myself a lot more in the next season. We've got A+ equipment at pretty much every racetrack, so that's why we've had such a dominant season on this game. I'm going to try taking some of the worst equipment, and we're going to drive as Dave Blaney and try to win a championship there. Now, that won't be a full season points format like this one. There was no points reset with the chase here, with this being a custom schedule season. So that is why we have as big of a lead as we do. Ryan Newman is still right there. I mean, we're 20 laps in. Johnson and Martin haven't completely pulled away from that 12th car yet. Yeah, definitely going to have the biggest points win of all time, that's for sure. I don't think there's ever been a driver to clinch a championship 6 races before the season finale. As many as we could clinch here if we can seal the deal tonight. For some reason, Johnson drops out of the race before the finish. That would end up just winning the championship just like that. Well, I don't know that for sure, because Greg Biffle would still be 3rd in points, and we would probably get away with like a top 20 finish and still end up winning the title. But I'll just focus on 12th or better right now. That's easy enough math that's been done before the race that I know for a fact. 12th or better once I led that one lap. I somehow led the most, and you can get away with a 14th place finish, but I definitely don't think that's going to happen. Late didn't get a notification. Well, that stinks. Yeah, YouTube's a little inconsistent with, sometimes you get a notification, sometimes you don't. Johnson Martin running that middle to upper groove again. Through turns 3 and 4. Need the slingshot? No, I'm not trying to pass him. We need to save gas. Save gas once. And yeah, I want to get that laps led record too, but if we get in front of him, we're not going to be able to pull away. And I don't want to burn the tires off of it this early in the race. If we can lead a bunch of laps, you know, on pit strategy at some point, I'll be all right with that, but I mean, every lap led gets us that much closer to the goal, even though we're over 900 away still. Because I led 438 at Martinsville yesterday. If I can lead over 400 at Bristol again, that'll put us about 500 back in the other 6 races, counting this one, that we would have outside of Bristol remaining. And again, New Hampshire is one of my better tracks in this game. I could easily lead over 200 there. Like, just between those 2 races alone, I'd like to think I could at least lead 500 to 600 laps, if not more. Yeah, halfway out of gas, and we're right at that number. 25 and a quarter laps is what we ran before running to halfway out of gas, so this is why we're saving gas behind Johnson in the draft. If I was pushing harder and leading, we wouldn't be right at our number, and I have to expect this race to go caution-free because, for one, we're not guaranteed any yellows. For two, you look at Michigan a few races ago, similar track, 2 miles in length. That was only a 400-mile race. This is 500, so an extra 50 laps here. So pretty much all that means is we're going to have to pit one extra time. Instead of a 3-stop race, it'll be a 4-stop race. Newman to the inside of Mark Martin. Martin going to hold on to the race, not the race lead, but second place. Newman did a great job closing on these two. Johnson and Martin looking to try to get away again. Got a little tight. Overdrove the entry a little bit again. All right, with Johnson running this low line. It's the shortest way around the racetrack if we're looking at saving gas. As long as he doesn't back too far out of the gas at corner entry that I have too much of a run and get underneath him. I'm all right. I passed him that one time early and led a lap, like I said. Got the 5 bonus points quickly and then worked on fuel. Saving fuel the rest of the way since. We did start 17th. I mean, it took us about a dozen laps or so to get up to second, but got there. We've stayed there, and Ryan Newman in the 12 is slipping a little bit further back. Really, it's about as far off the lead as Newman has been. Newman was able to lead a few laps today. Michael Turner, thanks for tuning in. You talking Adam Stevens? I honestly didn't even know about this. Is that like breaking news at the moment? Oh, that's crazy. Surgery on both knees. Ouch. Did it specify how he injured himself, or has that not come out in detail yet? Wishing him a speedy recovery. I don't want to do one right now. By the time I get done with it, we're going to be really close to having a pit. I don't want Martin to pit early running as the AI. And I'm trying to keep up with Jimmy Johnson a little bit too. Golf cart surfing? Is this true? Or is that just... I just hope he wasn't doing something stupid that caused him to have the injury. If so, that's kind of what you get. I don't want to sound like a despicable human being, but what's the saying? You play stupid games, you win stupid prizes. Joking. Okay, I was just saying. I kind of figured, but at the same time, it is NASCAR country. You never know. It is the world of NASCAR we're talking about. Golf cart surfing would definitely, a golf cart surfing accident would definitely cause you to more than likely get a couple of knee surgeries. Going to pit with Johnson? I mean, if he pits right at lap 50, then yeah, but no, I don't plan on pitting with him. Yeah, the plan is not going to be to pit with Johnson unless like he does just happen to pit with us. Our goal is to make it to lap 50. That is the number. Share draft with him here. Definitely finally starting to pull away from Ryan Newman. Quite a bit at that. Kind of hoping he pits a couple laps before us. Give me a couple extra laps led that way. You know, honestly, I'm thinking about doing a little strategy here. Depending on what the tire wear is going to look like when I hit pit road, I might go right sides only on this green flag stop. And take the field pass during that time. Get out with a halfway decent lead, let the AI lead the laps for me with Martin, just to try to creep closer to that record a little bit more. And then when he catches me, you know he's gonna pass me quite a bit and just try to stay in the draft with him at that point. No, I didn't get my Michigan tickets yet. I plan on doing it next weekend. So I got to buy a bunch of them. We have a ton of my family going down there again this year. Now 10 laps away from green flag pit stops for the 6 team of Mark Martin. It would be the first ones of the night. Tire wear looking pretty good right now as well. Backed up my corner entry way more than Johnson there. I'd have to imagine Jimmy Johnson's not going to be saving nearly as much fuel as us. Leading all the laps versus me running in the draft in second. I mean, caution could come out. We went caution free in Michigan. Similar track to this. I think the first California race we at least had a few yellows, so I don't expect this race to go caution-free by any means. Going to a NASCAR event on Wednesday. What event are you headed to? It's like a modified race or something? I don't know what nights like the ARCA East and West races are. I don't know if they do midweek races or not. Use throttle only to save gas. I mean, by drafting, when I'm on the throttle, I'm backing out of the gas a little earlier than Johnson. I could tell getting into the corner, so I would like to think that he's not saving as much as me. I'm able to back up the corners a lot more and then catch back up because of the draft on the straightaways. Airflow, the aerodynamic side of things, we're saving more. I mean, I did this for the entire Michigan race, and we ended up winning. I still led about 50 laps that day, too, so if I can do that again here, I'll be pleased. I mean, on top of the... Oh, Johnson scraped the wall a little bit off turn 4 there. Just getting a little tight deep in the run. Tires are on our end still holding off pretty well. Yeah, I'm not using any brakes. I'm just letting out of the gas. My lift points are definitely way early right now. .6 of a second off my fastest time of the race. 6 or 7 tenths off. Got cars pitting for the first time today. So cars are on pit road lap 47. Those drivers pitting now are definitely not going to be able to make this race on 4 pit stops. Johnson going to stay out of the pits at least one more lap here. One of our teammates on pit road, that would be Matt Kenseth in the 17. Picked up a 10th from the lap before that last lap. Johnson not going to pit this time. He'll stay out on the racetrack also. Got to push it one more. And have to stay out of the pits this time by pit the following time. Johnson going to try to do the same. Back straightaway. And it doesn't look like Jimmy's going to be pitting this time. Alright, so we made it to lap 50. And we will be pitting. Martin looking low underneath Jimmy Johnson. Getting a little draft off the lap car of Dave Blaney. That's going to help Mark Martin get a big old run into turn 3. Look at him go to the apron to get by Dave Blaney. Johnson stuck above the 22. Not sure if he's going to be pitting this time. Mark Martin definitely is. Didn't slide the tires. That was about as clean of a pit road entry as I could have had. Saved the tires there. Oh, man, this is interesting. I'm going to take a risk here. We're going to go no tires. Fuel only. I'm going to try to come out with a pretty big lead over Johnson, hopefully. And I'm going to plan on doing both field passes this run. So that is why I'm doing this. So we'll definitely be taking tires the following time. And asking a lot out of these tires, I know. But we're trying to break history here. Got to get those laps led in. It's the only way I'm going to assure myself cycling back to the lead, and by quite a bit. Biffle on pit road. 5 bonus points for him if he didn't lead any laps early in the race. I'm not sure if he did or not. Johnson was able to go one more lap than us. A lot of drivers pitted right at lap 51 here. Mark Martin should have a pretty decent sized lead. Johnson getting up to speed. There he is, just leaving pit road. Mark Martin out in front with the fuel-only stop. This will be the second different time Martin has led today. And Johnson obviously still going to be getting up to speed. No lap traffic around the 6 at the moment. But, yep, Mark Martin leads here in Fontana. And can these tires make it 100 laps? Is the next question. .3 second lead. And we're still obviously going to have to make it 2 lap 100 for the fuel's sake as well. Creamy or crunchy peanut? Oh, crunchy for sure. Yeah, peanut butter. I'm going crunchy all day. Maybe when I get older, my teeth start falling out. Maybe I'll change my opinion on that. But yeah, I've always been a fan of crunchy peanut butter. Johnson about 3/10 quicker than Martin that last lap with his fresher tires. How was Johnson making his fuel leading? I have no clue how he was. I might have been able to go one more lap too, but I wasn't going to risk it. I made my number. I made my 50. All that mattered to me. I wonder how fast I can be if I get the Dave Blaney up here and I just draft with him. Crunchy's gross. I mean, it's, you know, there are peanuts in peanut butter, right? It's like having like a chunky tomato sauce kind of thing. It's like you still need tomatoes to make like pizza sauce or a tomato sauce. Oh, it's not Dave Blaney. It's actually Paul Menard. 15 car. Get hard for Menard. A little bit of a draft down that front stretch off the 15. I'm going to do the same down the back stretch. I don't think Menard's going to be fast enough. If I sit behind him, I'm probably going to slow myself down even more. That's all right. I'll just pass him cleanly. No big deal. Long time until we catch the next lapper. Yeah, I was still about a tenth slower than Johnson that last lap. I was not trying to go that low. I actually had grip doing it, but I had to be very careful on the analog stick. It was a risky play, let me tell you. I wasn't sure if the tires were going to slide out from underneath me or not. Well, the tires have held on for 59 laps. I think the nighttime race here, I don't know. I feel like I just have more overall grip than what I did in the first California race. I made a lot of adjustments, though, from what I had at the end of the race last time here, because the settings, they saved. Excuse me. Johnson will get to me at some point. I think this strategy, honestly, is working out well for me, too, because I only had that one lap car to deal with. I don't have to worry about anybody on my back bumper taking the air off the rear spoiler, causing me to use more of my rear tires and get a little loose. And I saved my tires, you know, not pushing 100% all the way through that last run, trying to save gas as well. So I think that's why this is working out as well as it has. I mean, hey, this pit strategy has allowed me to lead 10 laps. That's already more laps than I led in the first California race this season, so there you go. Now, obviously, we'll have to take tires the next time. I'm not going to be able to just keep doing this. We will have to take 4 tires on the next pit stop. I thought about taking rights only, but I felt that even if I took rights only, I was going to end up taking 4 the next time, so that's why I ended up just going fuel only instead. Means I'm going to be taking 4 next stop no matter what. I told myself I was only going to do this if the car felt fine on the long run, and it felt fine, so I mean, it wasn't going to be perfect. Johnson's still trying to get by Paul Menard in the 15 at the moment. Moldy tomatoes. I don't like moldy anything. I guess like blue cheese is like the, the closest I'll get to eating anything moldy. I do like my blue cheese with my wings. I've always been more of a blue cheese guy than a ranch guy when it comes to wings. Comment in the chat if you're eating wings. Are you ranch or blue cheese? Team ranch or team blue cheese in the chat. I didn't hear what number it was, but somebody that blew an engine earlier in the race is now back in the race. So we're going to have a car off the pace for the final just under 200 laps of this one. Jimmy Johnson only 9/10 of a second off the lead. I'm not allergic to any foods, actually. Not that I know of. The only thing I can potentially think of, and it's not like... I've kind of wondered if it's a food allergy over the last like handful of years. When I'm eating like potatoes, like anything potato, it could be like hash browns in the morning. It could be like fries if I get something from fast food. It could be, you know, just baked potato. Like potatoes, I get the hiccups bad for them. Like every time I eat them. And it's not because I'm eating too fast. Because I've noticed it's literally only when I eat potatoes. I can take like, I could literally, let's say I just like went to McDonald's. I could eat 2 French fries and start getting the hiccups. So I don't know if that's potentially a food allergy or not. It wasn't like that when I was younger. Like, this is something I've just kind of noticed in the last handful of years. That, last few years that I've hiccup a lot when I eat potatoes. I think it's a starch or something. Had a lick of it. It was nasty. Ranch. Eating wings right now. Oh, there you go. Yep. Not going to be too aggressive trying to hold up Jimmy Johnson here. Johnson to the inside of Mark Martin. Johnson is clear. Martin's going to get back underneath them, though. Through turns 3 and 4. Mark might be able to lead one more lap. Nope, not quite. Johnson leads. Johnson led that lap at the line. All right. I got focused on just staying in the draft again, and just got to work on saving these tires. Yeah, I'm a huge soft pretzel cream cheese fan. That's like my guilty pleasure snack is soft pretzels with Philadelphia cream cheese. I haven't had it in a while now. Next time I go to Walmart, I'm definitely going to be getting me some. You can get these, well, at least, you know, the Walmarts around me. I don't know if this is a universal Walmart thing, but at Walmart I get like these soft pretzels. Each box is only like $1.99. And you get 6 pretzels. So I get like 2 boxes. Think of cream cheese. I mean, that's like a $8 snack that lasts me a few days. Well, Martin back to the lead. David Stremme holding Jimmy Johnson up. That's another lap led for the 6. Johnson probably going to get by on this next lap. Yeah, I eat a lot of vegetables. I've always been more of a vegetable person than a fruit person. I like a lot more veggies than I do fruits, personally. I got one more lap led in there. David Stremme holding up Jimmy Johnson just a little bit. There's a massive, and I mean massive pack of lap traffic that the 48 and the 6 are closing in on, and we're definitely going to get to them in the next few laps. Especially if we stay nose to tail again. Notice third place starting to creep up a little bit closer yet again. He got held up by David Stremme also, so that bought us a little bit more time. I think I have the best car for sure. Knowing how I did on those older tires and the car's handling still well on older tires, I definitely have the best handling car in the field. I would like to think. If I could just stay right with them on these old tires, we're going to be in business here. 142 car all the way up on the outside. Martin got underneath Jimmy Johnson. Had no intentions of trying to make a pass on him, though. I imagine Johnson's going to have better straightaway speed here. And I'm going to let him go. No issues with Jimmy whatsoever there. I'm really trying to save the tires. I'm trying to put myself in position that I'm not going to slide up in front of not only him, but these fantasy drivers around us too, these lap cars. Really don't want the car to get aero loose being on these older tires. I'm handling well right now, but I have one big loose moment. My tires are probably going to be burnt completely off at this point in the run now. Oh, contact with Johnson. And that lap car was underneath me too. Where'd Jimmy go through all that? Is he out in front of the pack? I don't know. Oh boy. There he is. Get in front of me, JJ. That was way more stressful getting through that lap traffic than what it needed to be. Brussels sprouts smell like a moldy gymnasium. All right. Well, I mean, not like this stuff. Time to time, they'll pop in, hit the like button on my live commentary streams. Usually, it's just on the Cup races on Sunday. I don't even know if they know I, you know, about truck and Xfinity races and all that. They're subscribed, though. Most of them. Any of them that know, I would imagine that I, you know, have a YouTube channel and I'm consistent with it, are subscribed. If I see them regularly enough, you know, they'll know about it. David Stremme pretty slow through turns 3 and 4, and that's another pass made to get to the lead for Mark Martin. David Stremme's allowed me to lead a few extra laps in this one than what I would have otherwise. He held Jimmy Johnson way more, held him up way more that time than what he did the previous time. Back to about a 1 second lead again. What really helped me be able to take the fuel only on that last stop too was not sliding the tires whatsoever coming to pit road. It was as clean of a pit road entry as I could have had. $80 laps on these tires this time by at the start-finish line. You would have to imagine Jimmy Johnson just knows he's not going to win the championship, right? Like, he's not going to race me extra aggressively just for that reason. Considering that I'm so far ahead that it would take more than just one bad race to... I'd probably have to DNF the next 5 races for him to have a chance at the title going into the season finale at this rate. One thing with this is haven't been drafting much this run, so am I actually saving more gas to be able to make it to lap 100 with the fuel only strategy? That would definitely be the next thing you'd have to wonder. 18 laps away from pitting this time by. Still caution free tonight in Fontana. Johnson with a run, going to get to the inside of Mark Martin for the lead. And off turn 4, Johnson going to lead this lap at the line. Back to just drafting in line behind Johnson again. But so at least the 40 car of David Stremme is going to end up being caught again. Whatever that may be. Johnson going up the middle. Thought he was going to try it for a second. He did not. 143 luckily was able to pull clear. I thought he was going to go up the middle. I wasn't going to follow him there. Oh boy, little contact. That was sketchy. That was a sketchy piece of contact there. We're all good though. Car didn't wiggle as much as I would have thought. David Stremme actually qualified better than me in this race too, and he still had that engine issue and is many laps down. Johnson run that middle to upper line of the racetrack. Martin backing his corners up a ton, staying in the draft behind him, trying to save fuel, and this 192 is running a slightly faster pace than both of us. Johnson actually scraped the wall off turn 4 that time. Definitely got to be careful in this line. There's a couple lap cars around us. Can't let the car steer too loose off the exit of a corner. We're closing in on David Stremme. Bump drafted Johnson all the way down that next straightaway there, and he got picked behind a couple of those lap cars, and Martin gets through to the lead. Another, well, I didn't lead that lap at the line. I'm surprised Johnson got down to the bottom as quick as he did. I thought the 192 underneath him as well, he was going to get boxed in behind the 40 a lot longer. Or at least just as long as he did the last time, but that was not the case. Mark should lead this lap. Really hoping we don't get arrow loose here. So far we're doing all right. Oh boy. Johnson hanging on that right rear corner panel. Yeah, I got arrow loose that time. Oh, don't wreck. Don't wreck. Oh, no. Martin up and over. How did we not get a caution? Somebody took the lead from us. I got to pit this time. Mark Martin rolls it over at Fontana. We still stay green. Oh, my gosh. Caution for debris. Oh, my good Lord. How did we not DNF? And how is there no caution for me flipping in the middle of the racetrack? What the? Who got to the lead through all that? Somebody got through to the lead. I don't think it was Jimmy. Well, I can't pit for fuel or tires because I caused the incident. Definitely going to have to repair this damage as much as I can. I don't think we're going to have a race-winning car anymore. That probably is going to knock the speed out of it a ton. 2020 all over again. What a ride for Mark Martin. First caution of the night. Fuel window not open. Lap 89. Lap either 89 or 90 was the yellow. Luckily for the rest of the field, when that debris came off, my car was like all the way on the apron, so it didn't come up in the racing line, but still warranted a caution.
The only car on pit road during that entire caution.
Well, that was wild. Lap 93. Green flag back in the air.
Number 192, just looking for some room to get by you. What's up high? Clear.
Come on, car. Come on, car. Oh, yeah, yeah. I'm gonna have to pit. I'm gonna have to pit way early than what I would want to.
The 18 car is down on the track again. It'll be a little slow.
Sounds like
Be careful.
Sounds like JJ Yaley might have blown an engine earlier, and he's coming back into this thing too.
8 seconds on the leader.
I'm trying to make it to the fuel window. We still got to get to lap 100. "32 cars on the lead lap. And we're the last of them in 32nd. Ryan Newman got to the lead, by the way, through all that mess. David Stremme. I might as well pit now. I had to slow down so much for him. Hang on to it. Come on. Jesus. Nearly come to a complete stop to keep from spinning out. 4 tires of fuel. Holy Moses. Freaking Brad Keselowski the wall.
Tires all the way around.
Shades of bad Brad. What was that, 2009 at Fontana when he flipped in the Busch Series? Landed back on all 4. Only difference is here is we didn't get a caution. Definitely going to have to hope that this thing cycles all the way through. I don't know how we're going to get back into this race.
You got the guys coming up fast.
I don't think I'm going to clinch the championship tonight. It was 07. Man, I didn't think it was that long ago. This car still feels loose. This damage has upset the handling a ton. Well, we had cars pit just after me, so we're not the only ones that are going to be short on fuel to the end here. David Stremme needs to hold the line. So at some point, we're going to have to get another caution this one. I didn't make any adjustments there because I wasn't sure how the car was going to act on the other side of the pit stops, but it is way too loose. Like, it's loose right now. And I just took fresh tires. This car's probably skewed all over the place. I mean, I flipped a race car. I flipped a car. We didn't get a caution somehow. We eventually got a yellow for debris, but... Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe that Joey Logano's been in the Cup Series longer than Brad Keselowski, but Brad Keselowski's older than Joey Logano. By like, what, 6-7 years? Brad had a slightly later start. Joey was in the Cup Series when he was 19, 18. He won his first Cup race when he was 18. Well, I mean, never say never. We need to cycle all the way through green flag pit stops so we can at least get back on the lead lap, and then at some point we're going to need a caution to get back on the right side of strategy in this race. The good news is we do have a lot of race left. I mean, we still have over half the race to go. I don't even know how I did that. I just kind of made contact with Johnson. I didn't feel like the car, you know, acted abnormal before the contact. And then once I got on him, I couldn't get off of him. And we were just going straight up into the wall. We were going for a ride. And barrel rolled it down the front stretch and we didn't get a caution. If we didn't get a caution for that, I don't know that we're going to get a yellow in this race, to be completely honest. I'd be shocked if we get a caution at this rate. Freaking flipped it. And we're still in it. Probably gonna have to put like another round of wedge in it or something. Definitely not going to be able to go fuel only again with how ill handling this car is. And we were doing so good, too. I flipped while leading. I flipped while leading the race. I like that when it came back down on all fours, I only fell to 4th place. Not to mention the caution. I mean, obviously, I had to pit to repair the damage, so clearly I didn't remain in 4th, but... Still a lap down. Brad's 6 years older than Joe. Yeah, I knew he was 6 or 7 years older. Whenever they show like those graphics on like Fox NBC at the bottom of the screen, like during qualifying and stuff, it'll show like their age. So I thought I remembered Brad being about that much older than Joey. Jeff Burton leading. Ryan Newman just came into the pits. I'm like one of the few drivers that's going to be looking to be short on gas to making this race on 3 stops. 4 stops, rather. And that's because we pitted at lap 94 with that severe damage after flipping. So I'm about 7 laps shy of being able to make this race on 4 pit stops, and a large majority of the field's going to be able to make it on 5. Not everybody, but A lot of them, especially at that caution, saving a few laps under green for everybody but me. Jeff Burke gonna pit now. And this gets Mark Martin back on the lead lap, so yeah, I mean, we get one caution, we're right back in it. The sooner the better. We're going to be by ourselves for a long minute, let me tell you. Matt Kenseth now leads at Fontana. Right side's what have kept me from getting loose. Possible. I would have had to make an adjustment if I took right sides only, though, to try to mitigate that, because it probably would have freed the car up itself anyway. Having just much more grip on the rights than the lefts. We probably would have burnt the left rear off the car a little bit more, but yeah, if I made the right adjustments, stay on top of it, it's possible. I don't think it was the old tires, though. I wasn't majorly loose until I flipped, and the car was just terrible, and now it's really loose still because of the damage, because you're not going to be able to fix it all. You flip a car, it's just never going to be the same again the rest of the race, unfortunately. 4 tires on the first stop. I'm not regretting that, honestly. I don't think that's the reason I flipped. I think I was just in a bad circumstance there where Johnson was on my outside. I mean, yeah, maybe I could have held the bottom a little more in that predicament, but I also wouldn't have led as many laps. I was trying to go for as many laps led as I could have. I mean, we don't have to win this thing. Remember, we just got to finish 12th to win the championship tonight, so you know, that's not completely out of it. We can still get a top 12 here and win the title. Still, I don't know what kind of speed's in this thing, though. That's could have a few more cars drop out of the race. We're 20.3 seconds off the lead. Ryan Newman just passed Kenseth for the lead that last lap. Spelled clinch wrong. Well, I actually didn't even get a chance to put it in there. That scrolling screen at the top, I can only put so much text in there before I run out of space, and that's why it says Clin. I was going to put Clinch's championship with 12th place finish or better, but I ran out of text, unfortunately. Yeah, Newman's definitely quicker than me. I just gotta hope I don't go a lap down before the caution comes out. I have to try to stay in the lead lap the rest of the way, at all possible. It'll be a long waiting game. I will say the last couple times I've had to get a caution, I have gotten a yellow to bail me out. But both of the times that I got a yellow flag that bailed me out, it was in like the last dozen laps of the race, so I didn't really have time to get all the way back up to the lead. I did get back into the top 5 in both of those instances and finish 3rd and 4th, but I don't even know that I'm going to have speed to drive through the field, though, either. Like, we're going to have something weird happen for us to win this race today. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to have to be something. Then 2/10 of Newman's laps. What does help me is Kenseth and Newman keep taking the lead from each other back and forth, so they're not really able to pull away from the cars around them. I'm not battling with anybody. We're closing in on one car. Maybe that is for position. You know what? It might be Paul Menard, because he was pretty slower compared to the rest of the field. It's about a 10th or 2 slower than Kenseth that last lap. Get a top 15. Jimmy has damage. Yeah, I mean, that's true. 12th or better if Johnson wins the race today. Johnson doesn't win the race, and we don't have to finish 12th to win the championship either, so. I'd like to think my speeds could be a little bit better if I was in the draft also. Down the straightaways. Yeah, Paul Menard's already a lap down, so this isn't even going to be for position when we get to the 15 car. David Stremme just up in front of him as well. Martin closing in on both. And clears them both on the back straightaway. Imagine being so slow that a guy that flipped is still faster than you. That's Paul Menard, ladies and gentlemen. Stremme being slow could help me. That's true. JJ Yaley was supposed to come back into this race too, but I don't think he ever did. Or he pulled back into the pits again. Something. I haven't seen Yaley. I remember the crew chief saying the 18 car is going to return to the track. He's going to be a little slow also. I don't think I'm really catching anybody on that track map, though, either. Doesn't seem like I am. We'll take our first field pass of the race. We'll swap to Matt Kenseth in the 17 car first. Means he is in the thick of a battle for the lead right now. He works his way off turn 4. His car definitely handles better than my damaged car. Kenseth trying to find a route past Newman. He's going to get underneath him. Not quite clear. But Kenseth does lead that lap at the line. So side by side for the lead again. Oh, little contact. Now Kenseth's clear. Slamming the door on Newman. Newman being Newman. Difficult to pass. Onto the apron off turn 4 to get by David Stremme. Stremme getting in front of the 12 car in the front stretch there as well, and that will extend Kenseth's lead to about 0.6 of a second. Kenseth hasn't won yet this season. Maybe he could be the 10th different winner of the year. If he can find himself to victory lane tonight. We're almost halfway home at the California Speedway. Ends up blocking for his life in front of Newman right now. He tries to hold on to the lead a little more. And we will make the swap at the line, and we will transfer to the 16 of Greg Biffle. Biffle in the 4th place position right behind Jeff Gordon. Elliott Sadler in the 38 looking to his inside. Didn't want to crowd him too much there. And Sadler clears Biffle. Biffle going underneath both the 38 and the 24, 3 wide into turn 3 for 3rd. And Biffle's got them both. Merging off turn 4, Sadler with 4th place, and Jeff Gordon fades to 5th. Biffle's got a little bit of pull-away speed from the 38 and the 24. He's actually quicker than the race leader, Matt Kenseth, that last lap, too. Yeah, I definitely plan on watching Raw tonight. Excited to see what happens. Gonna miss the start of it, unfortunately, but try to catch back up. I would imagine this thing's gonna go to probably 9 o'clock. If I had to guess. Another 10th quicker than Kenseth that last lap. Wasn't as quick as the lap before. It's hard to tell for sure, but it looks like Kenseth could be pulling away from Ryan Newman also. We'll swap to Jamie McMurray next at the start-finish line. McMurray on the lead lap in 19th place. I would assume Waltrip's 4th position, so it's a battle for 18th between the 55 and the 26 on track. And McMurray will make that pass for position. I don't know. I personally don't want you to keep me updated with that because I don't want it to get spoiled when the time comes. I'd like to go back and rewatch it. for the first time without knowing what happened. Mark Martin's in 32nd. I flipped. Around lap 89-ish. Still in the race somehow. We didn't get a caution for flipping. So now we're off pit strategy as well, and we're going to have to make one more stop in this race more than likely than the rest of the field unless we get another caution. Which again, isn't impossible that we would get another yellow, but so far we have not. About 30 laps or so since that incident.
One more down. Good job, buddy. All clear, bud.
Mayfield got passed for 17th place by McMurray as well there. I think the California Speedway's got my number in this game. Those Busch Series races I didn't run very well in either. I DNF'd in the second one. Haven't DNF'd all season with Mark Martin. Newman has retaken the lead away from Matt Kenseth yet again. So he had caught up and passed him. We'll make the swap back to Mark Martin at the line.
8 seconds back on the leader. Stay hungry. Roger that. We'll take care of it, bud.
Martin's catching up to more traffic.
He's giving you some space.
We'll see interval-wise behind Newman how far off the lead he is, because that's probably increasing a little bit. Not much, 22.5 seconds. I think it was about 21 before. Second and a half loss, but could help save a little gas. Both Sorensen and Blaney are a lap down as Martin passes both cars through turns 1 and 2. I don't want him on my rear spoiler, though. I need to pull away from him. Not going to be easy with the lack of speed in this car now, but
All clear.
hopefully I can. Trying to stay as low as I could down the front stretch, break the draft. My car okay? No, I flipped. It's definitely looser than it was before, and I don't have nearly as much straightaway speed either. We were leading when it happened. Doing pretty good for myself. Tom gonna get his ass whooped. I hope Rhea does it. I want a Rhea versus Dom match. Some sort of a blow off to all this.
He must like it because he's giving you some room. It's a 40 car.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna tighten the car up a bit. I don't want to tighten it up too much, but I am gonna have to tighten it up.
Go ahead and get on by. He's not gonna block. Watch it come on.
2 more lap cars and Martin is closing in on. Got underneath the 171. Didn't make the pass yet. It'll still stay underneath them into turn 3. 142 car going wide as well. Martin also going to pass him. Both those cars were a lap down that Mark just got around. So he's only passed lap cars so far. Since having to make that unscheduled green flag stop. Try to take this as far as we can. I know I'm not going to be able to get all the way to lap 150, but yeah, Raw and SmackDown should be really good this week. Must-see television. Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I think I'll get canceled if I do that, Wade. I am, this day and age, I'm not going to be taking any risks with that. A little draft off this next car. It's pulling away from the 142 just a little bit more. You see driver blocking Martin a little bit off turn 4. Martin trying to keep up in the draft again. It's even kind of squirrely on the straightaways. More so on the front stretch than the back straightaway. Dressed as an old lady. Yeah, I could probably get away with that. But I'm still not going to do it. I'm still not taking any risks. I'd like to, like to play it safe. I'm here for the long haul. 105 is the lap down too. Not sure when we're going to be catching any lead lap cars. Drive underneath the 45, Kyle Petty. Those last two passes were for position there for Mark Martin, so he is now up to 30th. Three wide pass. One of them was for position, the other was not. Trying to get a draft off the 141 car next now. And Martin's able to do so. Down the front stretch. They'll make the move underneath that car. Almost let that 192 get underneath them. That was close. Martin now drafting behind Jeff Burton in the 31. Moves are being made by Mark Martin in the 6. Oh boy, I thought I was going to slide into him there. He was running me tight. 28th. Come on, we can get to 12th at the very least and win this championship tonight. Johnson has led the most laps still up to this point in the race. I'm not sure if he's going to end up leading the most or not. No clue where he's running on the racetrack. Robbie Gordon getting held up on the back straightaway, and that could be another spot. He runs in line behind David Stremme. Big run by the 6 of Martin under both cars. I had to use some brakes into turn 3. I didn't want to push tight up into him. Still clear. And up to 27th now for Mark Martin. I'm thinking about going right sides only so I can try to catch that next group up ahead of us, because there's a gigantic gap other than one car that's up here. try to gain time with pit stops that way. I'm gonna have to tighten it up a ton if I'm gonna do that. But I think that's how I'm gonna try to gain quite a few more positions. I think in the draft this thing is still quick enough, surprisingly. That way if we get a caution, you know, we're already mid-pack, we don't have to drop all the way to the back again. I mean, I was looking to be about 7 laps short before. I'm going to make it past lap 144, though. I pit at lap 94. I've definitely saved a little bit of fuel just with my car overall being slower than what it was before. I think that was enough. You know, I'm really trying not to use the brakes as much as I can. I can make it to like lap 147. That'd be ideal. Q4 since I'm shy on fuel. That's alright. I want to get back into this. I want to make this the most miraculous comeback of all time here. I'm going to tighten it up a ton. I'm going to drop the air. Well, I'm not going to drop the air pressure because the lefts aren't going to come off. 26. Somebody was on pit road that was ahead of me there. 25th. 2 cars were. So there's a few other cars that are going to be short on fuel to the end that could gain me a couple positions also. If I don't get all the way up to the lead. 106 to go. Newman's still out in front. Catching Denny Hamlin in the 11, that would probably be another position. 22nd. This is all, of course, prior to lap 150. Mark Martin going to stay out of the pits again. Catch some draft off Denny Hamlin, reel him in. Save a little more for fuel. 19th. All cars pitting before lap 150. Matt Kenseth's coming in. He's led a lot of laps during this run. Oh boy. Got way too much of the apron there. Do I want to go one more? Oh, I can't. I went as far as I could. Oh, this is going to cost me a little time. I'm definitely going rights only. Definitely have to go rights only now. Ran out of gas getting into turn 3. I'm not going to lose a ton of time here. I'm probably still going to gain time if I go rights only. There we go. Didn't speed. Right sides only. We're going to put a full round of wedge in. Yeah, we're going to go 1 round of wedge. Oh. I had to push it as far as I could there. That's not a bad spot to run out of gas. Oh, that doesn't help. Well, that hurts. Hurts him physically and hurts me mentally. What was the time on that stop? Oh, I didn't see what the time was. I have to get straight to the racetrack here and hope I don't get blasted from behind. Nobody hit me. Nobody hit me. Only way I can save my tires here, ladies and gentlemen. All right. I don't know if Jeff Burton's pit or not yet. All right, well. Trying to get up to speed here. Kyle Petty just exited pit road same time as us. Left sides are old.
Clear, clear. All clear.
Trying to gain time. Running out of gas and the jackman falling over. I don't know how much we're actually going to gain out of this. Might end up still losing time, to be completely honest.
All clear, bud.
It was like 28th before the pit stop started, 14.5. So it was about a 4-tire stop still. I maybe got a couple seconds, but we run out. Yeah, that's a slow 2-tire stop. All because the jackman fell over. I mean, I did what I could. About 3 laps shy of making it a 1 stop.
He's not racing as hard.
That's a lap and a half per run.
That way. Nice job, bud.
Ideally, I hope we just get a caution, but there's a spot on Jeff Burton, I think.
Clear on both sides.
Jimmy Johnson's back in the lead. I don't know if he's pitted or not. Yeah, we're right at lap 150. I mean, we've got a lot of cars pit. We don't need a caution now, though. We have to wait for everything to cycle through first, because obviously leaders are still on the track.
Leaders are coming into pit.
Dallas doesn't feel too off right now. Might have been able to go another half round of wedge than what I did. Just went 1 full round. I also have to remember to maybe take just a little bit out if I take 4. All right, Casey Mears led that lap on pit road in the pits, so now we are back on the lead lap. We'll see who's going to be the leader. Johnson was one of the last cars to pit right at lap 151. There weren't many drivers that were able to actually make it all the way to lap 150 before pitting. Just a few of them.
Come on, bud. Let's go.
Martin passes Robbie Gordon for position, back to 28th, which is where we were running for the pit stops. That giant gap that we saw before green flag stops, that's what we have ahead of us at the moment now. A couple cars still leaving pit road at the bottom of the track. Spot on Burton. Maybe another spot on Denny Hamlin. I gained time on him. Try to get a draft off the 11. He's still trying to get the speed. I'm going to try to draft with Denny in the 11. I don't know if we're actually going to be able to make up time or not doing this. It's going to help me save fuel though, at the very least. .9. Newman could get held up by lap traffic too. I have to draft with Denny. I want Denny to be aggressive. I want him to stay to the bottom of the track in the corners. We're going to draft behind him. We got a big gap. We're going to try to make up on some other drivers for position ahead of us. Again, we have to finish 12th or better to clinch the championship tonight. If you're just tuning in for the first time wondering why I'm 27th, I actually flipped. And we didn't get a caution for it back on lap 89. Had to make an unscheduled pit stop. This is why we are running as far back in the field. We do have damage. We're not as fast. Trying to gain time on the leaders in the draft. I was a 10th or 2 quicker than Newman that last lap in the draft behind Hamlin. The 11 and the 6 are working together here. This is going to keep it a little tighter, like my car tighter as well. running in the dirty air in the corners behind him, which is good because it's been free since flipping, and I took right sides only that last stop trying to gain time, when in actuality we ended up actually not really gaining, or we actually lost a little bit of time is what we did do. Position wise, we were one spot up from what I was before the pit stop started, but interval to the race leader Ryan Newman, we were down. I don't know what the number I'd like to be interval behind Ryan Newman with. What is potentially achievable? If I can get to within like 11 seconds, take 2 tires again, hopefully not have a mistake on pit road, don't run it out of gas, and then hope I can make it upfield to the end. Like, that's probably what I'm looking at. Obviously, assuming this race stays green. Get to the bottom of the track, Denny. Starting to run the middle groove, both ends of the track that time. We're not going to gain as much time running here. There we go. I kind of have to lead my way to the bottom slowly. If I move too quick, I'm going to just have too big of a run when I pull out of the draft initially and get underneath them. There we go. 2-car tandem. A Daytona or a Talladega. I got to hope he gets to the bottom of the racetrack here. Especially. Don't check up, Denny. Don't check up. There you go. I really was hoping he wasn't going to brake check me right in the middle of the straightaway trying to get by David Stremme. Thank goodness he didn't. I was backing out of the gas. I was out of the throttle a little bit in the straightaway just in case I had to make an evasive maneuver there. My left side's down on the apron all the way down the front stretch too. Well, I could save more gas this run than what I did the last run by running in the draft behind Hamlin, too. 23.1. If Stremme holds up the leaders enough, every single time he gets caught by them, he's going to get caught about every 8-9 laps or so. About 5-6 times a run. Jeffrey Giordano, thanks for tuning in. $37.976. These two are working well together. Who knew Denny Hamlin and Mark Martin were best friends? Hamlin was a rookie here in this season, too. They didn't race a long time with Mark Martin. A couple seasons full-time for Mark. Of course, this is his last year in the 6 car. He's trying to win a championship tonight. Has to finish 12th or better. .88 laps to go at the line. 37.910, fastest lap of the day for Mark Martin. We've got speed in the draft. The draft is the great equalizer. Down these long straightaways at Fontana, even with a car that is flipped already tonight. Passing cars is going to be interesting. Because Hamlin's been a great partner. I would love to stay with him the rest of the way, but I don't know that I'm going to be able to be completely honest. Biffle to the lead, by the way. As he just got by Ryan Newman. So now Biffle's out in front. Left rear tire is in the yellow, and the tire wear indicator here for Martin in the 6. Car's definitely going to be a little looser than it was before. I really don't know how I'm going to make these passes. I'm really scared to. I want to just stay behind Hamlin. I don't know if it's going to work. Hamlin to the inside of Casey Mears. Let's both go to the front, Denny. Let's do it together, Denny. 26th and 25th as they both got by Casey Mears for position. Got to pull away quickly before the air gets taken off the rear spoiler. I didn't want to make a pass on him there. We don't need to be running side by side. He didn't stay all the way to the bottom. I'm scared to lift too much in the middle of the corners now. Just keep myself from getting that run because I don't want Casey Mears right on my back bumper like he is. Hamlin underneath Menard. Mears pushed a little tighter off the exit of that last corner off turn 2. He's going to get stuck behind Menard. Menard not for position. Menard is a lap down. Now can Hamlin get by the 14 of David, or not David Stremme, the 14 of Sterling Marlin? Marlin with a block. Hamlin will get underneath the 14. Middle of turns 1 and 2. Boy, that contact hurt me. Holding on. Oh, I really hope I don't lose Hamlin. That was very tight, and I wasn't able to hold on to my line very well. Contact with Sterling Marlin, but Martin saved it, barely able to stay in the draft of Hamlin. Hamlin almost pulled away from the 6, but the 6 reels him back in. Lost a little time to the race leader, Ryan Newman, but they still got a position out of that. And now they'll be catching David Stremme. Denny, don't lift. He's lifted. Give me room, Denny. Oh! We're good. That was not a clean way of making it work, but I was committed to staying in the gas. I didn't know if I was going to pile it into the back of the 40 car or not. Denny, we're supposed to be working together, man. This car's spraying up a ton after I made that contact with Sterling Marlin. It is loose as a goose. As these next two cars, it's going to be a lot more clean air back in front of the 11 and the 6 again. 20.9 seconds off the lead. Kyle Busch, next driver up ahead. Hamlin to the inside of Busch through 3 and 4. 6 of Mark Martin staying with him. The 23rd. Gonna lift a ton in the middle of 1 and 2 there. Try to get this momentum back. Don't want Busch to get there. Busch is staying in the draft behind the 6 now. We gotta go, Denny. Busch got underneath me.
Okay, we lost the spot. They'll come back to us. Don't worry about it. Stay focused. Clear, all clear.
Hamlin wasn't staying all the way to the bottom of the racetrack like I wanted him to. Martin back to the inside of the 5. Trying to stay in that draft to Hamlin. Clear again for 23rd. Got 11 more spots to gain to get back into championship contention again. And again, Busch to the inside of Mark Martin. Six clears the 5, gets back down to the bottom. Trying desperately not to get aero loose. All 3 of these cars are gaining on Brian Vickers. Doesn't have any drafting help with anyone. I mean, we're not pulling away from the 5. Yep. Come on, Busch. God. Oh my gosh, dude. It's so ridiculous when it gets sliding like that. How much time I just lost. I got aero loose, and that's what started it. And once I got loose, it just takes forever to try to chase it again. Hey. Oh my gosh. Just doing so good. We're gaining time. Back to having hope for a caution again. Why am I using the analog sticks? What, you don't? I've never heard of anybody not using the analog sticks to steer when using a controller. I don't even want to attempt to try to use the keypad. Yeah, oh, I just tried it. I just tried it. Middle of the straightaway. That was a dumb idea. I am never doing that. All I did was tap left, and I swear I was going to spin out in the middle of the straightaway. How the hell do you use the arrows? Good thing I wasn't driving as Mark Martin right there. I tapped it once. No, I'm not using a wheel. I'm using a controller. I'm using a controller. I literally, like, touched the left arrow on the pad. Yeah, I wanted to spin out. That was a terrible idea. If I would have done that with Mark Martin, considering how loose his car is, I definitely would have spun out. McMurray doesn't have any damage on his car. He was able to save it. Dave Blaney not giving McMurray a lot of room there. No, I'm not using assists. Does that have anything to do with it? If you have assists on, does it make it easier? Use steering assist at some tracks. That could be. And be competitive. Especially if you're running a harder difficulty. We'll swap to Matt Kenseth. He's up in contention for the lead side by side right now with his teammate Greg Biffle. Kenseth looking for a run to the inside of the 16 off turn 4. I like how you asked if why am I using the analog stick like it was a foreign thing. You're literally the first person I've ever heard of that uses the arrows when using a controller in a racing game. It sounds insane. I tried it for 1 second. I don't even want to try it for a turn. I guarantee I'm gonna spin out. I need a caution, but not that bad. Not like that, at least. There's a lot of smoke in turn 4, but there was no yellow for whatever happened there. You could see the smoke. Dang, didn't get a caution, though. Right back to having hope for a yellow again. For Matt Kenseth. Used them every game you can think of. Never do a wheel. Well, I mean, I can understand that, you know, not everybody can use a steering wheel with these console games, but the fact you don't use the analog stick to steer your car is, yeah, it's just a wild concept is what it is. 3 wide back there behind us. Swap to Greg Biffle at the start-finish line. Biffle was a car that was probably going to be able to make it on fuel to the finish of this race. Might seem kind of cheap, but to try to get Mark Martin a championship win tonight, we're going to pit him very soon. One more car we can beat in the finishing order. Just hoping for a caution. Ay, 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 ay. Hit the wall off turn 4. Good battle for the lead going on right now. 16, 17, 12, 38, all in contention. Dale Jr. in 5th back there too, also in contention. Looks like the 8. We'll pit this time with Greg Biffle rather. That was a perfect pit road entry. I locked the tires up a ton, but it was intentional. I gotta get this laptop on the charger. Give me 1 second, I'll be back. I do use X to accelerate. With the PS2 at least. I use R2 for the PS4. All right. I don't know why I sat down. I got to plug it into the wall first. I could be a real idiot sometimes. All right, here we go. Open the door, I'm cold. Actually, it keeps the heat in here, keeping it closed. I think that's why I sweat as much as I do during these summer streams.
Fix as much damage as we can.
Yeah, I'm definitely doing 4 tires with Mark Martin after I had that big slide. I lost pretty much all the time I gained during the course of the run. Oh, man.
Make sure you're up to speed before you merge. You got some guys coming up behind you. Steady, 3-1.
Leaders were coming up on David Stremme as they were lapping Biffle, who was coming out of the pits.
The 40 car is outside.
Yeah, there's a lot less cars on the lead lap now at this point in the race. Three wide, right around for the lead. We'll swap to Mark Martin for the rest of the race, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll hope for the best that we can make it on one stop. No guarantees that we'll be able to. Got to try to make it to lap 150 at all cost. '23rd is where Mark Martin runs in this race, position-wise. One of the last few cars on the lead lap. Looks like 27 of them are on the lead lap as of right now. Man, that's fine. We just got to stay on the lead lap for when a caution comes out. Honestly, if we got a yellow right now, I am pitting for 4 tires, topping off on fuel, and then I'm going splash and go only at the end of the race. I think that is my strategy plan. If we were to get a yellow, like, right now, that would probably be the best chance I have of actually winning this race, because I don't know that I can drive through the field. This car is not handling well, but if we're going to win on strategy, I think that's the way we can do it. Man, can we actually have that happen? Please, give me a caution. Problem is that if a yellow comes out and then everybody pits, that makes me believe that by the time we go back to green that they can make it and I can't. Because we haven't, I guess 53 laps as far as we've gone today on that last run. But well, it wasn't even 53 full laps. It was about 52 and 2/3. I ran out of fuel getting into turn 3. Both left side tires on the yellow. Yeah, definitely going to be looking to change 4. Next stop, 21st. One car just pitted that last time. I'm interested to see if we can get to 12th before we pit. Because if we can, then at least there's a good chance we can at least clinch the championship tonight if I can't get up and win the thing. Got to finish 12th or better to clinch the title. Fuel indicators just now flashing. We're coming to lap 194. We're definitely going to be able to go past lap 197. Another car on pit road. 20th. This will trap more cars a lap down. We got a caution. Middle of green flag stops. Ryan Newman's been one of the last cars to pit every time too, so he's going to be staying out quite a ways. I didn't even realize the White Sox had a 20-game losing streak. They've not won since the All-Star break? It's crazy. They had that 2-week break and they got even worse. They're already bad. Got by David Stremme. We know Dave Blaney's a lap down, if not 2 laps down, so that's not going to be a position up here. We still got cars pitting. We might get a 12th place finish. If we can make it on fuel to the end of this race, we might be able to clinch the championship. We're in 15th right now. And we've got some of the cars out of the top 5 pitting. It looks like our teammate Matt Kenseth is coming into the pits. Biffle already pitted. We might still win the championship tonight. Somebody... Well, I think they were pitting. It looked like they were on the apron well before exit at turn 4. We're in 11th. No way. Oh my gosh. Got more cars pitting. I really hope Newman pits before lap 200. We got a lot more cars on pit road. Still over 20 seconds easily behind Ryan Newman. Lap 198. Gotta make it to lap 200 here. That's the goal for Mark Martin. 2 more laps. He's up to 10th. 9th place. More cars pitting, but not Newman. Newman stays out. Oh, Newman blows the motor. If Newman blows the motor. Well, I don't know how many more cars beyond that can make it, though. There's a lot of guys that are looking to be short on gas with 1 more stop. Lap 199, 6th. 6th place for Mark Martin. Newman is on pit road, lap 199. Newman is short by a lap as of right now. Mark Martin's going to try to make it to lap 200. Truex is still out on the racetrack. Okay, so Newman pitted. Martin is in 3rd. There are 2 drivers ahead of us for position that can more than likely make it to the finish of this race. Martin Truex Jr. in the number 1 car, and there's somebody else up there. I didn't see how far behind Truex I was at the line. Somebody let me know in the chat, what was my interval to Truex at the line? I might have to go left sides only here again. Truex is in. I might have to go lefts only to try to gain some time. Clean pit road entry. Lock the tires up a little bit. We're going to go lefts only. I'm going to put another half a round of wedge into it. And hope that we can make it. I mean, we made it to lap 200. I got to chase the one. I'm going for the win, baby. I'm going for the win. I know you're saying take 4. I would have if I... There were a lot less guys that can make it on fuel than what I was expecting there. Oh, come on. Get the lug nuts up. Why do we have slow pit stops? That's the second one in a row. First the jack man, then the left front tire changer. Come on, 15 seconds for a 2-tire stop. Are you kidding me? Exit stage right. Plenty of room. Dang it, man. I was really hoping I could catch the one by doing this, and pit crew made a mistake on pit road again. Well, if I would have taken 4, I would have been in danger of going a lap down. Because then it would have taken me like another... We have 15 seconds? Jeez Louise. That was slower than the last 2-tire stop. By like a second. Alright, well. It's going to be tough to catch Martin Truex Jr., but you never know. There's one other car, too. I don't know who the other driver was. They made it to lap 200. I mean, Jeff Gordon finished second at Michigan, and he made it 51 laps the final run, so we'll see if Newman can do the same thing here. There could be a lot of cars short on gas to making it to the checker here. At the very least, Mark Martin should be able to make it on fuel the rest of this race. Honestly, the car feels fine, at least coming out of the pits. It feels more snug now than what it did before. I think taking the left sides only versus right sides only kind of tightens the car a bit. You take right sides only, it loosens it more. Because now we're kind of abusing the right front more than the left rear if we would have taken rights only. So we'll try to get to Martin Truex Jr. at the very least. If we can get to him, then it is a real serious fuel mileage race from here to the finish. You have to go, what, 103 laps total on right side tires to the end of the race from where we're at right now. Well, we have time to save fuel if we can catch the one. Gained another spot. I don't know if somebody just blew an engine or whoever was in second finally pitted, but Biffle, by short pitting, cycled to the lead, but he's definitely not going to make it on fuel to the finish. Mark Martin's 23rd, has to finish 12th or better to win the championship here tonight at California. And as you just saw, a lot of drivers pitting at the edge of that fuel window. We had just one yellow for debris all the way back at lap 89 tonight. It's the only caution of the race so far. We get another yellow, I'd assume everybody's going to pit, because it is going to be a tight fuel window finish for a vast majority of these cars. Mark Martin is pacing as if he can make it. It's still going to be tight, but a lot better now than what I was thinking 2 pit stops ago. We'll alternate through the different camera angles for the final time in the race as well. There's Denny Hamlin up ahead of us. We were working well with him earlier until we caught Kyle Busch in a bad spot. So with the time we have gained on track here, we have caught back to the 11. The car is definitely handling better now than it did the last run when it came out of the pits. So I think going left sides only is going to work better than when I went right sides only. don't know who we're racing other than the one of Truex. On the track map, it looked like he was only like a few seconds ahead of us. Probably lost time with that slow stop, even taking lefts only, but we'll see. A 171 car top of the track. Even though the 6 is faster than the 11, we saw how much time they were able to gain in the draft earlier with one another. Aren't up in the draft behind the 171. Hart's got a massive run into the first turn. Stays glued to the bottom of the track. Clears him. 6-7 seconds. Yeah, that might be more like it. Definitely running in the draft behind the 11. A lot of clean air ahead of us. As time to gain on fresh tires. Got underneath him off turn 4 just a bit, but Hamlin a little bit more straight line speed. Again, still damage on the 6 car, slowing the straightaway speed down from that flip, of course. Got to stay conservative, though, the rest of the way. Got to stay in the draft here, continue to save gas to the end, while trying to, in the draft, gain time on Martin Truex Jr., who looks to be the first car we have to chase on those that can make it on fuel to the finish. If, of course, Ryan Newman doesn't make it, who would probably be the next closest outside of the 2 that were ahead of us. As he pitted at lap 199, 1 lap before Truex, Martin, and whoever, again, was in second behind Truex, and also pitted the same lap as him. That was the first lap Truex has led all night, too. And Martin Truex Jr. has not won this season. He's outside the top 10 in points. I wish I didn't flip either. But somehow, someway, this race is still winnable. Got underneath Hamlin off turn 4. Didn't want to. Going to stay to the bottom of the track. You can see David Stremme holding up that line of cars up ahead of us. I might just have to stay underneath Hamlin into turns 1 and 2, make the pass, because we need to make sure we get by this 40 car cleanly. Stremme moves out of the way at the last second. And Martin clear for 22nd on Hamlin. Hamlin's still stuck behind Stremme. I was afraid of that, so try to just run down the next car in front of us and go from there. It was faster than the 11 anyway, so. Again, this car definitely has more grip now than it did after the stop prior to the most recent one. 37 laps left. 36 for Biffle at the line this time. Outside of Martinsville, though, races we've had cautions lately, they've been coming out in the last dozen laps or so. If that happens, I might consider staying out of the pits, because that might be the only chance I would have of winning the race. I kind of hope it stays green to the end. All this hoping and praying for a caution most of the race, now I kind of want it to stay green. Catching Brian Vickers in the 25. Definitely for position. Not sure if that's a car we would have to pass that could potentially make it on gas or not to the finish, but Martin just got a draft behind the 25 for the moment. Unless we have a situation like with Hamlin where we just get to his inside kind of unwillingly, but just too much speed. Got underneath him off turn 4 there, but he might have more speed down the straightaway to stay in front of us, which he does. Making our fuel top 10 easy. Yeah, maybe even a top 5. I was in 6th before the cars. I was in 6th and 3 of the top 5 pitted. 2 of them stayed out at lap 199. So I think I could at least get to 6th if it stays green to the finish and we make it on fuel. Martin trying to make the pass on Vickers through 1 and 2. Had a run getting into the corner. It's close enough to get a draft off Jeremy Mayfield in front of him now. The pass was for 21st. We'll go back to the normal camera for the rest of the race at the start-finish line as well. 32 laps to go this time by. And I see Truex. Truex only a few more cars up in front of where Mark Martin's running right now. Martin looking to make a pass on Mayfield into turn 3. A little contact.
Still plenty of racing to do. Clear, all clear.
Martin does make the pass for 20th. Michael Waltrip and Martin Truex Jr. are battling for 18th. And this 142 car, I believe, is a lap down. I ought to remember him being a lap down earlier. Yeah, unless Michael Waltrip could also make it. I don't know if he was before Truex or after. Or I should say behind him in the running order before the pit stops and past him after, but just on pace alone past a couple of these guys. Oh, Waltrip's blowing up. Waltrip to the bottom of the track. He's blowing an engine. Right in front of Martin Truex Jr. He's still coasting around. And now he is slow on the back straightaway. And speaking of slow, Stremmy's holding up Truex. Martin to the inside of the one, and that is for 18th. And maybe the race for the win if the leaders can't make it on fuel to the finish. 29 to go at the line. This is going to be the most incredible comeback from a flip to a win that we have had not only all season, but probably at least in NASCAR 07. A single race comeback. Obviously, the points comeback in the Busch Series is not going to be top, but single race comeback, this could be the biggest in channel history, arguably. Again, a flip while leading at lap 89. Mark Martin has not led since. Been down on straightaway speed. Great adjustments made to this car in the last stop. We've driven to 18th. We're still 24.3 seconds off the lead, but because it's a fuel mileage race, and we didn't pit for fuel for an extra, when I did flip. Played by our rules. We caused the accident. We couldn't pit for fuel or tires. We had to make the unscheduled stop under green a couple laps after the restart. Lost a lot of time. Was able to save enough fuel the last couple runs to get ourselves in a situation where we could potentially make it the rest of the way. And a lot of other drivers are kind of in that same boat of they can or can't make it. A lot of them definitely can't make it. But some may be able to. Truex pitted the same lap as Martin. He was in the lead at that time. Martin was in third at that time. And now Martin has passed the one. But the one of Truex is kind of closing back in on him. I think Truex is a little quicker than us, but he got held up by the 40 car. Martin trying to break the draft on the back straightaway. Can't take a chance of getting too loose in the middle of the corner with him taking the air off the rear spoiler. Jamie McMurray definitely pitted well before lap 200. It's the next driver for position up ahead of us. Crypto, thanks for tuning in. And again, a 12th place finish for for Martin, excuse me. 12th place finish for Mark Martin tonight does clinch the championship. Martin's going to be lacking in straightaway speed compared to the one of Truex behind him. Truex not going to be able to make the pass on the outside through 3 and 4 there. Lost some ground in the corner. That's the thing, I'm down on straightaway speed so I can carry more mid-corner speed, and that's why I was able to pull him. He'll try to catch us in the draft. I'll be catching Stremme a couple more times yet. Might be able to get a couple more positions out of that outright, depending on how many cars he slows. Martin just close enough to get a draft off of McMurray down the back straightaway here. Just hit halfway out of gas, by the way. It is going to be tight. Martin behind McMurray. In the draft on the back straightaway. Trying to stay behind his teammate. They both got around the lapper in the 141. So he'll pull away from Truex and save gas here for Mark Martin. So he'll draft behind his teammate for right now. Man, he's going too slow. I can't. I think Truex is going to end up passing him too. McMurray's not that fast. I blew around him. I could just tell running in the tri-oval there that I should not have been that much faster than him down the straightaway. I think that's the 105 car in front of us, another lapper. Oh, 103. Still might be a lap down. David Stremme is holding up a big pack of cars just up ahead. Martin squeezes to the inside of the 103. Makes the pass down to the apron. That was a lap car, wasn't for position. Now here comes David Stremme in the 40. Martin got a little draft on him through the tri-oval. Hopefully he holds Truex up back there. We got a few cars between ourselves and the number 1 now. Definitely going to be a sweater here tonight for the win. These field mileage races, when they're this tight, they kind of suck. They suck. I mean, they're great entertainment value, but it is tight with, like, everybody. Everybody that's considered having a shot to win the race, at least. By the time they come out of the pits, they're going to be about a half a track behind us. That, and if Truex makes it, he's only a couple seconds behind us, so. It's one of those things, I really am glad I'm kind of pulling away from him right now, because if I do run out of gas, at least it gives me enough time to try to block if I run out in 3 and 4 or something. Like, at least there's a gap that I have built up. Because if I just back way out of it and then end up running out still, he's just gonna... There's no chance I'm gonna hold on in front of him. I want to catch like a fast enough lead lap car that we can draft off of, like I was with Hamlin earlier, but clearly well faster than Hamlin with this adjustment change. An extra half round to wedge and then changing the lefts but not the rights. That was the way to go, for sure. Does that help me with the slow pit stop stay close to Truex? I would have taken 4 tires and had a slow stop there. I'd probably still be about 4 or 5 seconds behind Truex. Now we're a couple seconds ahead of him. As long as I don't get anybody just on my rear spoiler, the car's handling fine. I haven't really had anybody on my rear spoiler this whole run like I did on the last run, so I haven't had to deal with that yet. Luckily the car's just a little bit quicker with this setup change, that I don't have to worry about it as much. Tim Brown, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hitting that like button. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. Live NASCAR streams every day. Live commentary streams on the NASCAR race weekend. For the NASCAR Cup Xfinity truck races, as well as Cup practice qualifying. NASCAR returns to Richmond this weekend. Our next stream will be the Saturday afternoon practice and qualifying session at Richmond for the Cup Series. We're going to have a full 45-minute practice session prior to qualifying, and that begins at 4:30 Eastern Time. 4:30 Eastern Saturday afternoon, we'll go live there. Doubleheader because the truck race will be later that night. As well, Cup race on Sunday, all live commentary streams there. For the weekend, of course, this NASCAR 07 Series the rest of the week leading up to Saturday, as we finish up this Mark Martin Revenge Tour season. '12th place finish or better to clinch the championship tonight. We're currently in the midst of a fuel mileage race. Biffle on to pit road now. He pitted well before the rest of the field. So move Martin to 16th. If Martin makes it on gas, he should be able to at least finish in that top dozen to clinch the championship tonight. He will have clinched it 6 races early. If that is the case over Jimmy Johnson or whoever ends up finishing second when we get to the end of the season. Now, most of the time when I clinch the championship early, if we're doing a full season points format like this, I'll end up just moving on to the next season. If you're wondering why I have such a big lead, you're like, oh, he's on easy mode. I am not. I'm on legend difficulty. There's a grading system on this game with each driver. Because we're in a Roush Fenway Ford and Roush Fenway's peak, we have A+ equipment at literally every single racetrack. Every single type of racetrack, from discipline, road course, short track, intermediate, super speedway. So I'm literally a contender to win every single race. Tonight, we were a contender for the win. We were leading at lap 89. It was a field mileage race, obviously, at the time, as we expected it to be all night, unless we had a caution in the middle of a run, which we haven't yet. Just that one yellow for debris at lap 89, and it was after I had flipped, which is why we've been kind of slower on speed and have not led since. But with the slower pace I'm running, because of the damage, it has allowed me to save just enough fuel during these runs that we may end up potentially winning this race. Pass on Earnhardt for 15th. Going to be made into turn 3 as he got held up behind David Stremme. Big slide up the racetrack. Luckily cleared the 8 car. It is definitely tight on gas. 12 to go at the line. About 20 seconds behind Newman. Newman's going to be the one to win this race if we don't, I think. He pitted a lap before us, so he's got less fuel in it than we do, but has he maybe saved a little bit when he was running behind Biffle, who was leading? up until a few laps ago. And Martin Truex Jr. pitted the same lap as us, and we're a few seconds on the racetrack ahead of him. We were able to pass him during these green flag conditions on this current fuel run. Plus gained maybe a little time with taking the 2-tire stop, even though there was a mistake on pit road. You know, in hindsight, if we would have made that mistake again with the 4-tire stop, we probably would still be behind Truex, but instead we were 13th now. There were a couple cars that pitted that last lap, so Martin's down to 13th. One more spot, and then making it on fuel to the end, and Mark Martin will win the championship here tonight. There is another car on pit road right now that should be that spot. And it must have been a lapper. Yeah, it was a lapper. So we're still in 13. 10 laps left in Fontana. Championship on the line. Race win on the line. Who can make it on fuel? Jamie McMurray's in the pits. We were already ahead of him in the running order. He's just pitting now off turn 4. He's a couple spots behind us. We passed him earlier post the last green flag pit stop. I think we're going to catch Stremme. We're definitely going to catch him one more time. We may catch him 2 more times. Kenseth's going to be pitting shortly. Yeah, he should. Johnson is in the lead now. I don't think Newman pitted, but he isn't in the lead. Maybe Newman's dropped off to try to save fuel behind the 48. We had to finish 12th or better if Johnson won, and well, Johnson's leading now. Although I don't think he can make it on fuel either, but we'll see. We are in 12th on that number. Looks like Earnhardt's pitting behind us. He was running low in the middle of the back straightaway, so I think he is signifying that he will pit. Yep, Junior's pitting. Nobody around this 6 car. So I don't have to worry about anybody taking air off my rear spoiler. Get me loose on these older right side tires. And an already ill-handling car, even though, like I said, it is better than it was. Made adjustments every pit stop since the incident, trying to do whatever I can to tighten it up. Haven't caught Stremme yet. 6 laps left. Martin up to 11th. There was one more lead lap car in front of him that pitted that last time. There's Earnhardt a lap down, trying to get back up to speed. Pressure-packed finish. Kenseth's pitting this time. The red X is over him on the driver swap indicator at the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. It's the 3rd Roush Fenway car to pit now in these final dozen laps or so. The only one that hasn't is yours truly right here, Mark Martin. I'll tell you what, on a night we didn't have the speed. I had more speed than I thought I was going to coming into the race initially. Obviously wrecked most of the speed out of the car, but tried to do what with it I could. And really never got back to within 15 seconds of the race leader the rest of this race, but here we go. Well, I'm not 5 laps short if I am short, because we're coming up on 4 to go this time by. It's not flashing red yet, so that's good. Here's David Stremme. That's the last time we're going to catch this 40 car the rest of the race. Mark Martin has cracked the top 10. 9 cars in front of him have to pit if he's going to win this race, and he has to make it on fuel as well. Johnson stays out as the leader again. 3 to go for Jimmy Johnson. He's trying to stay in front of Ryan Newman to the finish of this race as well. Got at least one more car pitting here. There's another car on pit road that I see. It's a car leaving pit road, so they would have stopped the recent time by. That car that pitted just in front of us was 4th position, so Martin's now up to 9th. And Robbie Gordon, who we saw pit the lap before, was a driver I saw on the track map leaving pit road. And it sounds like more cars from the lead are pitting. Not Jimmy Johnson, though. A car around him is pitting. You wonder if that is Ryan Newman, who technically would have went 49 laps, one run, 49 another. Remember, the Brickyard 400 was the last fuel mileage, or second to last fuel mileage race we had, but one similar to this where it was going to be tight for a lot of drivers to make it on fuel to the finish. Mark Martin finished 6th that day, being able to stretch the fuel gauge out to the end. Jimmy Johnson was the winner of that Brickyard 400, and here's Johnson now leading with 2 to go at his home track. Martin only got 1 spot there. Off of turn 4, Johnson stays out again. White flag in the air, 1 lap to go for Jimmy Johnson. Final lap of the race for JJ. Several others behind him trying to make it on fuel to finish, including Mark Martin, who has to finish 12th or better to win the title if Johnson were to win. Johnson is leading right now on the final lap with a half a lap to go and still up to speed at the moment. It's going to be the 2nd fuel mileage win of the season for Johnson. Labonte might be a position here for Mark Martin. I don't think Mark's going to be able to catch him. He's trying to get some draft behind him. Checkered flag in the air. Jimmy Johnson has won at the California Speedway. At his home track, Mark Martin is currently 7th. One other car that just hit pit road that Mark's going to be able to get by here at the checkered. That will be still 7th place run. It was a lap car that pitted. Well, Mark Martin is your 2006 champion. Made it on fuel. We at least won the title tonight. We didn't win the race, but we did win the championship. First career Cup Series championship for Mark Martin in his final year in the number 6. Johnson led 68 laps and on fuel mileage wins again. His 3rd win of the season, but his 2nd in a fuel mileage race. Just like the Brickyard 400 for Jimmy. Kevin Harvick ends up finishing at 2nd. Ryan Newman, who I believe led the most laps, 2 more laps led than Johnson. He ends up finishing 3rd after starting on the pole. Tony Raines finishes 4th. Top 5 for Tony Raines. He makes it on fuel at the end. Casey Kane finishes 5th. Joe Nemechek 6th. There's our guy, Mark Martin, 7th. We led 23 laps. Martin Truex Jr. ends up 8th. Casey Mears 9th. Denny Hamlin 10th. Greg Biffle led for 42 laps, finishing 11th. 12 cars finished on the lead lap in this one. Kenseth led 41 laps, finished a lap down at 15th as well. And Jamie McMurray finished a lap down at 20th with no laps led. So we were the only Roush car to finish in the top 10 tonight, despite 3 of them leading more than 40 laps. DNFs in this one: Scott Riggs blew an engine, J.J. Haley blew an engine. One of the Busch brothers, both of the Busch brothers, Kyle and Kurt Busch blew an engine. David Stremme blew a motor tonight. Jeff Burton blew an engine. Michael Waltrip, we did see him blow an engine late. Quite a few engine failures in this. Stremme did finish the race, but many laps down with an engine issue. So 60 DNFs total, 7 engine problems. 0.3 of a second margin of victory for Johnson as he wins the fuel mileage race at the California Speedway. Only 1 caution for 48 lead changes in this one. 2 hours, 49 minutes, and 40 seconds total time of the race. Average race speed of 176.81 miles per hour. The only yellow was at lap 89 for debris. I flipped and we didn't even get a caution for it. We got a debris yellow like a half a lap later. My back bumper flew off the car, and then we got a new one patched back on, and we were still able to come back from a flip to finish in the top 10 on fuel mileage. How about that? Still was able to win the championship and get a top 10 tonight, even with the flip. Biffle might have won if I had not screwed him. That is very well possible. I wanted to ensure a championship. The champ is here. Mark Martin is the champ. 6 races to go with leading 23 laps tonight. That now gives us 3,463 laps led on the season. We are less than 900 laps away from the all-time laps led record for a single season, which is 4,343 on Bobby Allison. And we're going to try to go for that record these final 6 races. I'm never going to have a dominant season like this again. We've clinched the title early in seasons before, like a race or 2 early. We have never clinched like 6 races early like this, so I'm never going to have a season like this again. I can guarantee it. We've got the equipment on this game to be able to do it, and at least we were able to get job number 1 done, which is getting Mark Martin his first career championship. Yeah, had to be 943 points ahead of Johnson at the end of the night tonight to clinch the title. We're 962 ahead with finishing 7th. He did win, so we did have to finish 12th or better, but yep, great job. Great job. Biffle 3rd in points. Ken's at 4th. Maybe there's a chance we can get a 1-2 finish for old Jack Roush here. Maybe 1-2-3 if Johnson has another DNF before the end of the season. Bobby Labonte just outside the top 10 in points still. He's trying to close his way in. That's going to end tonight's stream. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't yet. Subscribe for more NASCAR content. I'll see you tomorrow night. 7 p.m. Eastern start time for tomorrow's stream. Watkins Glen for the Cup Series. Hope to see you for that one. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your Monday. And see you back better than ever in less than 24 hours yet again.